Here's a guy that we've welcomed to the show many, many times. We've done some cool stuff with him recently, including that reunion of the original G3 not too long ago when we had him on with Steve Vai and Eric Johnson. Of course, we also had him on talking about his new album, Elephants of Mars, and he joins us again. Always great to welcome to the show Joe Satriani, and we got him right now. Hey, Satch, how are you, man?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Good, good. So I got my friend Larry Morant, who runs Monsters on the Mountain. I got a note from him last week telling me that you will indeed be in attendance, which I was unaware of, but very happy to hear.
Yeah, what a crazy thing. I'm not there to do a show. I wish I was, but we're not quite ready yet to hit the road. That happens later in September. But I have been doing a lot of art shows with the Wentworth Gallery this whole year, and it just came up as an opportunity to do a show right there at the convention center, along with the rest of the monsters that are rocking that weekend. So I get to do an art show on Saturday, and then a special VIP kind of a private performance on Sunday. I think that's how it's going to be arranged. So that's going to be a lot of fun just to be there. I mean, crazy amount of players there that it's going to be fun to be able to watch and from the sidelines and not have to worry about doing a show. That's always kind of a relief,
You can kick back and have a beer and watch everybody else work and play their guitars and get their sound dialed in and all of that, right?
Yes, yeah, you can play armchair guitarist and say, "Well, I would have done that differently,"
Does Joe Satriani ever play air guitar watching another guitarist?
It's funny. The thing is that you sit there and you think, "Oh, I'm never going to do that," and you're watching somebody else play, and you look down and you see your fingers move, and you can't help it. It's like decades of twitching going on. It is difficult to divorce yourself from the fact that you're a full-time entertainer, and so it makes it hard because what I do is I get stage like butterflies even though I'm not playing. I just sort of start to relate to what I know the performers are going through. They want to make the best show possible for the fans. They're hoping their gear is going to work and everything is going to be firing on all cylinders, so you can't help but pick up on a little bit of that sort of anticipation, that all performers get right before they step on,
Yeah, Joe, I can't play a note or a chord of anything, but I'm an awesome air guitar player, man. I got it down. Like if the visual matched the audio of having a guitar in my hand, I'd probably shred circles around you, man. I'd crush you. I'm not
sure
good.
You would. I'm sure they're going to figure that out sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where's that? I mean, with all the technology and advances, can I just, what I'm doing, can we make it sound like it really supposed to sound? That would be fantastic if we could pull that off.
Yeah, either that or maybe with those CRISPR machines, they'll figure out how to alter your DNA and, somewhere at a shopping mall in 10 minutes and just turn you into a guitar player.
Well, that's just it, Joe. Maybe if you could bottle your DNA a little bit, start selling that on the website, and everybody gets a little Satriani playing ability in them, then that'll help the world real easily. That'll work great.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea right there. I like that. I mean, wow. I'll tell you, the one thing, though, is that once you become a guitar player, you're into a world of gear anxiety and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. Be careful what you wish for.
Right.
I think you got the right job.
You're right. Just talking to the people who do it. Yeah, exactly. So take us, for people that are attending Monsters on the Mountain, which again is this weekend, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. You're going to you'll be there on Saturday. Now, last year when they did this, I was there as well. And I know Wentworth Gallery's Charlie Benanti, the drummer in Anthrax, was there for Wentworth showing some of his pieces. So I'm assuming it's going to kind of be similar to that, where your stuff will be laid out and you'll physically be there on Saturday. And then is the deal like if you make a purchase, then they get to watch you play on Sunday? Take us through it for people listening so they know what they need to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It'll be my first time doing that. But Christian at Wentworth Gallery was telling me how much fun they had last time, and it's a great place, like-minded, music and art fans to get together. So yes, Saturday I'll be attending an art showing just like any other kind of art showing, except it'll be right there while bands are starting to sound check and play. And then I guess there's an arrangement for VIPs and people who purchase the artwork to come back on Sunday and have a little private performance and Q&A with me at the same location, I guess. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's great to be able to get out more and more as things get more relaxed out there in the world, you know.
I was going to ask you about that because I was talking about your record and when we had you on with Steve and Eric and all of that, but I do recall now that we did have you on when you first started rolling out the art and doing the stuff with Wentworth. I knew you did a gallery show near me in New Jersey. I think you did one in the Philly area. So you've been on a little run now doing this. Obviously it's very different than touring and playing a live show, which you're so accustomed to. But what is it like for you to go out there where you're really just kind of talking about and showing your art and meeting fans at that level? I imagine it's a very different experience.
It is different. It's fun. We've done 5 from down in Florida all the way up to Jersey near your hometown. And they've been really a lot of fun for me to be able to meet fans face to face and talk about the artwork where, you know, for decades it's always been about the music only. So this has been a really new and interesting thing, adds a new dimension to, you know, my relationship with my fans. It's funny, you know, a lot of the sales go to people who don't know who I am. They walk by the event and they see something that they fall in love with, and they need to bring it home, and then they meet the guy who did it and they go, "Who are you?"
But that's got to feel, but Joe, that's got to feel great, right? Like that's a great validation for you as an artist in that way, because they're not just buying it because, wow, this is painted by Joe Satriani, because they truly appreciate the work regardless of who did it. I would think that's a great validation for that end of your art.
It really is crazy, and I've told people before, you know, when I've walked into these galleries and I see the way that the people at Wentworth display my artwork, it's like hearing your music on the radio the first time. It's just mind-blowing, and you do feel that kind of validation that somebody has recognized the worth in all the work that you've put into, you know, the art and the music. So it's great. I mean, it's really heartwarming, and it's great for the spirit, for the creative spirit. And as you pointed out, you know, you get to hang out and talk with these people, and it's really nice to have that exchange. When we started doing the shows, it was really the first time I started stepping out, you know, since the pandemic. So it's been an interesting thing to do as we get closer and closer to hitting the road in late September. And then, boy, it'll be full on, you know. So this has been really just a great exploration of something I've always wanted to bring out to the public. And I'm so happy that Wentworth has been sponsoring the artwork the way they've been doing it. It's just really been great.
WentworthGallery.com if you'd like to go and see some of Joe's work as a painter. That some of the pieces, I can see the images up there right now. I'm scrolling through them. It's just very, very cool stuff. How much stuff will you be bringing to Tennessee this weekend, Joe?
You know, here's a funny thing. Usually when I'm going on tour, you know, I'm looking at every cable, every guitar pedal, guitar as I'm going through all this stuff. With the artwork, the guys at Wentworth, they handle everything. You know, after I finish a work, I may send them 10, 20, 30, 40 canvases, a bunch of guitars, and then they do all the hard work of getting it together, putting the painted guitars in display cases, stretching and framing the canvases. And I leave it to them to decide which of the, maybe we've got 150 pieces now that they've handled for me since the beginning. And I don't know what they're going to pick to display. I know they can't bring everything because they've got 10 galleries spread across the East Coast. So it's always a surprise when I walk in to the next showing which ones they've decided to put up. And I'm always happily, you know, surprised by it. Their editorial process is great. You know, they know what they're doing. So I don't know how many are going to be there.
About how long on average? About how long on average, Joe, does it take you to do a painting? How much time generally do you spend on completing one?
That's a tough one to answer because there are some that have very little paint, and you might spend a week thinking about it and 30 minutes painting it, and then there are others that you work on for weeks and weeks, and you've got to wait for stuff to dry, and then you've got to distress it and work on it again. The guitars take the longest because I get the guitars as fully operational, ready for retail guitars, and I have to take them apart down to the very last screw. I have to sand all the paint off, and then I've got to do the base paint and then start doing the artwork. After the artwork is finished, then I've got to send it off to someone to clear coat it, and then it comes back again, and then I do the final reassembly and any other retouching I want to do. So the guitars take, 2 months or something like that. But the painting sometimes, I think on the average, I'm going to say, a week to 2 weeks per painting.
I'm looking at one here on the Wentworth site that's titled Skull with Tiny Joe. And I'm looking at that skull, and Joe, it takes me back to a number of years, I don't know, probably 10 years ago at this point. You were on my old TV show, That Metal Show, and you presented and were promoting your complete works in a little metal skull replica of your head. And if I recall, you took the sunglasses off, and there was a drive in there of every one of your records on high-res files. That thing was so cool. Is that still in print? Do you know?
Yeah. Yes. I think we made obviously with things like that, you have to do a limited run. Because I forget who, some international location actually did the little head, the little Joe for me. I think it was Taiwan, perhaps. They had the best, the most technologically advanced equipment to create the head from the 360 high-res files that they took of me, And I think we may have some on our website. I think on Satriani.com, every once in a while, we release some stuff from the archives that we hold back. But I think there were only a few hundred made, maybe 500 made of those. And then we also made like a CD box of them. But, yeah, the head was the thing that was the most popular.
Yeah, I have the CDs. I remember that, and I love the CDs. But I just remember that because we were holding it up, and we were holding it next to your own head, and I don't know. Sammy might have been on the show that day too, and we're joking around about it. But it was very cool because it was a for people that don't know what we're talking about. There was about 10 years ago of all of every one of Joe's records remastered, and you could have gotten the CD version or vinyl or what have you. But it was a little silver sculpture of his head, and the basically USB sat in where your eyes would be behind the sunglasses, and then you could just take that drive and put it right in your computer and hear everything in high res.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and John Cuniberti did all the remastering, and wow, just stunning, to hear this stuff remastered like that. One of the funny things was the fade-outs. I'm sure you know this because you are one of the most respected historians when it comes to rock music. So you know these details about things like fade-ins and fade-outs and how the trends change. But back when we did Surfing with the Alien, we were really into these fade-outs, and we were dealing with a Dolby SR system that brought down tape noise to almost nothing. And so we had these, 15-second fade-outs, and of course nobody does that anymore. I mean, songs fade out in like a second and a half these days. But we did it anyway. We were just thinking we were, audiophiles, and so we thought, let's just make crazy fade-outs that last forever, not thinking that people were going to listen to them in their cars and, wonder where the sound went.
Yeah.
That's what we noticed is dynamic range of the old records that were recorded analog on 2-inch tape had super dynamic range that nobody accepted anymore. Everybody wanted music that sounded like it was coming out of a video game, which, of course, there's no dynamic range. So
right.
We didn't go that route, but we did sort of get rid of, let's say, a dynamic range of 20 dB, and we thought, well, maybe 10, We didn't make it like 1, like a Chili Peppers record or something like that, but because it works for some kind of music, it works for the Chili Peppers because you just want to hear their kind of music that way, you know. But if you're listening to classical music, you don't want to hear it all compressed and, you know, without dynamics. You need that dynamic range. It fits the music, you know. So the instrumental guitar, it's a thing all in itself, you know, and you have to really forget about the way everybody else does it. We have to come up with our own rules so that we can maximize the effect when people put on this music.
Yeah, no, I don't like when it's called what many call brick walling, when a record is so compressed and so squashed that you just don't hear anything. It makes me nuts. It's painful to even listen to. And being in radio my whole life, when I get music that's recorded that way and then you put it on the radio and then that adds even more compression, it can be a total train wreck as far as how it sounds over the air. So that's always something that I'm listening for too. And it's funny when you talk about fade points, because the classic Dio album Holy Diver was recently remixed and reissued. Now I know there's a difference between remixing and remastering, but Joe Barresi, who did this remix, I'm sure you're familiar with the song Holy Diver.
Yeah, of course.
It ends cold now. Like where that song fades on the remix, it ends cold because Barresi told me that he was listening and there was the fade out happened, but then there was a natural end to the song that was really cool, the way the band stopped playing it that day in the studio. So he's like, wait a minute, I'm going to leave this all the way up. And now Holy Diver, the song, has a cold ending. It's just really, really cool to hear. Have you ever thought about going through your catalog and not necessarily remixing all of it, but is there any appeal to you to doing stuff like that?
Well, I have to say, there's like when you have like the devil on one shoulder and a saint on the other, you know, it's giving you two different kinds of advice, and you're thinking like, oh, which way should I go? It's pretty much like that because every record is abandoned. You know, you don't really finish it. You run out of time and money, and the people that are helping you make it basically say you can't keep working on this. You know, so. It's with a little bit of ceremony, you abandon it and you say, okay, that's it. That's all I can do on this thing. And of course, you want to remix it, but I think that's like only fun for the people who were there to listen to every version, every mix. But if you came to me as a fan of any record that I've listened to a million times, I'm really not interested in the remix because I fell in love with the first version.
Right.
And I still listen to it.
Totally.
So it's a curiosity. If you brought Masses of Reality to me and you said I got a remix of the entire album, I almost wouldn't want to hear it. Because it's just like, no, I like it exactly the way it is. Don't change a thing, you know. It's like it's funny, and also from the artist side of it, it costs so much money when you think about remixing things, because you're busy trying to make another record. You know, the whole cycle of investing in a new album is stressful enough, and then you think about spending money on stuff you've already spent money on. It's I'm sure other artists have told you that, you know, they get hit up every couple of years with the idea that they could spend twice as much money mixing their album in the newest crazy format, you know, quad, 5-to-1, 7-to-1. Now it's Atmos, which I really like, by the way, and we are doing an Atmos mix of Surfing with the Alien that should be coming out, I think, in the last quarter of this year. That I am very excited about. But in the past, those remixes were really, it cost the artist some money that they were hoping to spend somewhere else, you know, on some new music. So that's something to consider, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
For the people doing it, it's great, and maybe for some of the fans, the hardcore fans that really would love to hear every version of every album, you know, from their favorite artists. But it is an expense, and artists are continually going into that cycle where they need to spend money, before they know they're going to make anything back on new music. So, yeah.
Yeah, my position on the remix thing has always been like, I have all the fun you want with your catalog as long as the original version remains in print and available, because I'm with you. You always are going to default to what you grew up hearing, even if in the artist's eyes there's flaws in it. That's what you're always going to go to. But I always like the alternate takes for the curiosity to see what was done. But yes, you're always going to go back to the original. I got about 10 minutes left here, Joe. I want to ask you a couple quick things. I saw this online. And it was really cool when it was announced. Not a G3 show, but a G4 show in Texas. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's actually in Las Vegas.
Oh, it's in Vegas.
Yes, Vegas.
That's my second home. I have a place there. That's why a friend of mine who has a guitar shop in Texas called the Guitar Sanctuary was the one who told me about it, because he knows I live part-time in Vegas. He's like, you got to go out there and cover this. So you're right. I got confused.
Yeah, we have done a number of these. I guess we've done 5 so far. The G4 camps, it's a totally immersive experience for the campers that come. We get a few hundred people to come to these things from morning till night. It's nothing but clinics, performances, jam sessions with an incredible amount of artists that help us out. And each time there's some kind of a different theme that we'll come up with. This time around, I was so amazed I was able to get Peter Frampton, Steve Lukather, and Steve Morse to come to join me to be the 4 of the G4. And they'll all be doing unique personal performances, as well as giving a clinic and having some jams as well. And then I've got Alex Skolnick, Andy James, Corey Wong, Eric Gales, John Five, Mateus Asato, Neely Brosh, and even have Ned Evitt coming along as well with his fretless guitar. They're so much fun. They're really great. And, of course, I'm going to be there with my band, and so Kenny and Ray and Brian will be there with me. And they'll be playing with Peter, Steve, and Steve, too. So, they're crazy events. It's just, wow, by the end of the week, you just can't believe what you've just experienced.
When is it exactly, Joe?
This is it's January 3rd? Yes, January 3rd through the 7th, and it's at the Hilton Lake Resort in Las Vegas.
Very, very cool. And of course, we should mention that you do have a tour for Elephants of Mars starting off, and that'll be here before you know it, a little over a month away. A nice run here in the U.S. starting on September 21st. In Riverside, California. I imagine you're looking forward to that and getting out there and doing a full tour again soon.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I've been practicing picking out the guitars, the pedals, the amps, and it's great. It's great fun. I remember I told you, if you become a guitar player, you buy into the what is that gear acquisition syndrome. And then at some point you go, oh, I got to sort all this out. But I've been having fun doing that the last few months. I've had a lot of time to prepare when I put down the paintbrush and pick up the guitars. It's a lot of fun.
And last thing, Joe, I had a listener call in about this the other day. Do you hold out any hope of ever being able to fire up Chickenfoot again? I know I bring that up a lot with you, but listeners always bring it up to me. Sammy seems very happy doing what he's doing with the Circle, and it's great and all of that. I know Chad's super busy with the Chili Peppers. We know all that. But is there a side to you that feels like there's some unfinished business there and that you'd like to either make a record or go out and play some shows again?
Yeah. Oh, you and I have talked about this so many times. I've always thought that we had the best record ahead of us, that we hadn't really been in a position to do our best record, and I was hoping it would be the final statement in our career. A couple of times, things almost lined up where it looked like we might be able to pull it off. But yeah, as time goes on, things happen that you just can't imagine, and as we've seen in the last few years, and it just sort of puts a monkey wrench in everything. So I know, Sam's got a really cool new record out, just came out, and he's looking to, hit the road with that as much as he can. And as you said, yeah, Chad is going to be really busy next couple of years, I'm sure. When the Chili Peppers go out, they really go out for a long time. So, yeah, I don't know, and I'm sure if they called me now, I'd have to say, hey, I'm about to start, touring again. I'll be out for a year and a half. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how, practically, I don't know how that would happen. I know that my heart and soul is totally into it. I really think there's a lot of music that we didn't get to that the fans would really love. So I guess I do hold out a little bit of hope.
And Sammy doesn't age, so you don't have to worry about that. He's aging in reverse, it seems. So you don't have to worry about your singer getting too old. I just saw him recently. It's crazy, vocally and appearance-wise. I guess that all that tequila he has is good for you, because I don't know how the hell the guy does it. The way he works at his age after all these decades is remarkable.
It really is something. Well, he's an original, and that's why having him in front of Chickenfoot was so much fun. He's got all that energy, and as you said, he sings like nobody else. There's no one sings like Sammy. Yeah.
Crazy. Joe, it's great to visit with you. Everybody check out The Elephants of Mars. That's out now. There's a really cool, trippy video for the title track available right now, too, which Joe's son, ZZ, did. And he did that, right? Your son worked, I'm assuming, did the new video?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did the two, actually. He did the first single, Sahara, and then, the super ultra trippy one for Elephants of Mars. I mean, what else could you do, right?
Totally. So that's out there. The tour starting September 21st, that G4 special show in Vegas coming up later in January. You got the Crystal Planet Comics. And, of course, this coming weekend, if you are headed to Monsters on the Mountain, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, look for Joe there on Saturday and check out his art, maybe even get a chance to get into the VIP and see the performance. Always great to talk to you, Joe, and hopefully I'll see you this weekend.
I hope to see you this weekend, and a belated happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Unlike Sammy, I am aging very much forward, so.
You and me both. Oh, well, maybe we can have some tequila and turn the clock back together this weekend.
Mentally, I'm 20, Joe, and every other way, not so much.
All right. Thank you.
Take care,
Thanks
man.
for having me on the show.
Anytime. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There he goes, everybody. Joe Satriani, one of the greats. Great guy, too. Always great to visit with Satch and have a few minutes with him here on the show. And, his art's really cool. If you get a chance, and look, I'm not any sort of connoisseur where I know much about art and have an eye for it. It's like guitar playing or anything else. Songs, music, hey, it sounds good. I like it or I don't like it. But just looking at it, he's got some really nice stuff. And you can see it at Wentworth Gallery. Just go there online. And actually, when you go there, because they do, and we've had a lot of artists that run their art through that gallery on this show. Brian Wheat was doing it. Michael Cardelloni was doing it. Charlie Benanti's doing it. Somebody else we had on too recently, Rick Allen, of course, several times from Def Leppard doing it through that gallery. Won't come on the show, but Paul Stanley does it through that gallery. So Joe is one of the more recent additions, I think. And if you want to see what the paintings look like, you can see them on the website. You can buy them through the website as well, of course, if you can't make one of the actual gallery exhibits. So check that out on wentworthgallery.com, I believe it is. And for all the stuff on Joe, it's simply satriani.com. And you'll see the dates and videos and all that good stuff on his website. So there you go. Thanks to Joe Satriani for a few minutes. Let's see.